Hello everyone and welcome to another video of mine. No pissing about today because it is a new video. I have found another topic that I must keck at. So let's just jump right into it. The BBC, US woman's equal pay claim dismissed by court. Oh, it's beautiful to hear, isn't it? Because I mean, this has been an issue for some years. I remember the first ever video of Sargonova Cads I ever watched was about the gender pay gap in men and women's football in the US, or soccer, I guess I should say. Because if I'm referring to the women's football team, it means a completely different thing to the Yanks. However, I remember him going through a sketch on The Daily Show, and they were just slamming out misinformation about everything, and Sargon was just going through all the facts and figures and basically saying they're lying. If you want to catch up on that, link in the description as usual. But for all this to finally end in a court case, that clearly comes down on the side of sensibility. I just can't help but be happy. So, the United States women's football teams, or soccer teams, bids for equal pay have been dismissed by the court, with the judge rejecting the players' claim they were underpaid compared to the men. The lawsuit was filed by 28 women's national team players last year against the US Soccer Federation, the USSF. They had been seeking $66 million, or £52.8 million, in damages under the Equal Pay Act. Molly Levinson, the players' spokeswoman, said that they plan to appeal against the decision. Well, of course they do. They're greedy bitches. We are shocked and disappointed, said Levinson. We will not give up our hard work for equal pay. No, this is not what you're after. You're after special treatment. Women's soccer/football does not bring in as much money as the men's. It is nowhere near the level of men's football, and because of that, the market says you're not worth as much, I'm afraid. What can you do about it? Make it more entertaining. Unfortunately, as one of my good friends says, watching women's football is like watching a load of retards play, and I think a lot of people agree with that. We are confident in our case and steadfast in our commitment to ensuring that girls and women who play this sport will not be valued as lesser just because of their gender. Again, not because of your gender, it's because you don't play as well as the men. Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee for US president in this year's election, and also alleged sexual abuser, told the team not to give up this fight, adding, "This is not over yet." To US soccer. Equal pay now, or else when I'm president, you can go elsewhere for World Cup funding. Oh, the Democrats. I mean, honestly, we've got the Democrats who went crazy over Donald Trump saying you can grab him by the pussy when you're famous or whatever he said. But Joe Biden's actually been accused of sexual assault, and she remembers a hell of a lot more than any of Trump's accusers, and the media's bloody silent on it. But oh no, Joe Biden's saying that he wants equal pay. Oh, trendy opinion, it's fine. Forget the fact that he is alleged to have sexually abused a woman. Yeah, just forget that. Just forget about it. He's our guy, you know? Just forget that he's got dementia, so probably doesn't actually remember how many women he's sexually abused. Bit like Justin Trudeau forgetting how often he blacked up. Federal Judge Gary Klausner allowed the players' case for unfair treatment to travel, housing and medical support to go to trial, which is set for 16 June in Los Angeles. Given its ruling, the court said the women's team has been paid more on both a cumulative and an average per game basis than the men's team over the class period. The US team won the Women's World Cup last summer for their 4th title overall. They have also won 5 Olympic gold medals. So it turns out these greedy bitches have been earning more on a per game basis than the men's team, and now they are demanding more. Like, it's never good enough for these people, is it? You can get paid more on average and cumulatively than men, and they still say that it's unfair treatment to them. No, that's not how that works at all. You are in a position of absolute privilege here, and you still have the audacity to say that the men are privileged above you. And now piss off. Anyway, they actually start saying crap now as well. So, after the equal pay claim was dismissed, striker Megan Rapinoe, who won the Golden Ball and the Golden Boot in last year's World Cup, tweeted, "We will never stop fighting for equality." Oh, well, do you know what, Megan? I think you should give some of your paycheck to the men. That's apparently what will make things equal. You want a world of equality? Give men your money. But you're not going to do that, are you? Fellow US striker Alex Morgan said, "Although disappointing to hear this news, this will not discourage us in our fight for equality." The USSF said it wanted to work with the team to chart a positive path forward to grow the game both here, at home, and around the world. Its statement added, US soccer has long been the world leader for the women's game on and off the field, and we are committed to continuing that work. It's amazing. I just read 3 paragraphs that said absolutely nothing. Literally absolutely nothing. Like, chart a positive path forward to grow the game both here at home and around the world. What? By doing what? It's just an empty statement. You know, and US soccer has long been the world leader for the women's game on and off the field. It's like, what? How? It's just empty statements to make sure that they can't be blamed by the feminists. It's absolutely unreal. Just tell them that they are worth less than the men. Or apparently in this case they're not, because they're getting paid more than the men. Like, I don't know what they want. What the hell do they want? Apparently whatever they want is never enough. I mean, listen to this next bit. Former USSF President Carlos Cordero resigned in March after lawyers for US football's governing body made submissions as part of the lawsuit in which it was claimed that the job of a male footballer on the national team requires a higher level of skill based on speed and strength than their female counterparts. The guy was basically forced to resign because he told the truth. Like, this is the world we live in. Well, we've obviously known that for years. But we still have to deal with it. Why are things like this not changing? Why do people like Ash Sarkar, who shill for communism constantly, you know, an ideology that killed millions of people, why does she get to go around shilling that, and she gets platformed on every mainstream bloody news panel show, and yet people who are actually doing their jobs are basically saying, yeah, you don't get paid as much as men because the men's job's harder. Why does he get fired for that? And Ash Sarkar could just keep going around spouting a bullshit. I don't understand. I'm sorry, I do understand, actually, because I've been doing this for 2 years. I ought to. It's because having trendy opinions is all that matters in this world. Ash Sarkar is the queen of trends, unfortunately. And people like Carlos here, who speak the truth, not very trendy to speak the truth, unfortunately, gets him fired. This shit needs to change. As in right now. And the final line of the article I personally just find insulting. The US men's team made the World Cup quarterfinals in 2002, while their best finish was 3rd place in the inaugural tournament in 1930. Okay? And guess what? If that was the women's team playing in any of those tournaments, they wouldn't even make it to the qualifying rounds. So it's a complete non-argument. They're basically putting that in to say, see, that the men's team aren't as good as the women's team. And it's just like, no, they're playing completely different games, basically. I mean, alright, the rules are the same, but my god, as we saw from the women's team playing against a bunch of 15-year-olds and losing like 4-1 or something, yeah, clearly the women shouldn't be paid as much as men. Those 15-year-old boys should be getting more money than these women are, by their logic. But no, the women need everything. Just piss off. Well, on the bright side, it wouldn't be this channel if we didn't have a quick look at The Guardian. So this is The Guardian's article on it. Shocked and disappointed. Judge dismisses US WNT's equal pay claim. Federal judge sides with US soccer in equal pay lawsuit. Claims of discriminatory travel will be allowed to go to trial. I just love it. This is just full of salt. I mean, for a start, The Guardian actually go into a bit more detail than the BBC, so this is exactly what is written by the Judge Klausner. The history of negotiations between the parties demonstrates that the WNT rejects an offer to be paid under the same pay-to-play structure as the MNT, and the WNT is willing to forego higher bonuses for benefits such as greater base compensation and the guarantee of higher number of contracted players. Accordingly, plaintiffs cannot now retroactively deem their collective bargaining agreement worse than the MNT CBA by reference to what they would have made had they been paid under the MNT's pay-to-play term structure when they themselves rejected such a structure. I mean, that's an orbital strike, really, isn't it? Because these women literally just want everything they can get. Like, they are literally just greedy little shits. I mean, how much do you really want to get paid? Oh, I want to get paid as much as men. Sounds fair enough, doesn't it? Turns out when you go into detail, it's because they shot themselves in the foot. I mean, Klausner just goes on as well. Merely comparing what WNT players received under their own CBA with what they would have received under the MNT CBA discounts the value that the team placed on guaranteed benefits they received under their agreement, which they opted for at the expense of higher performance-based bonuses. The issue is insufficient to create a genuine issue of material fact for trial. Klausner also said the women could not go forward with their claim that the USSF discriminated against them by scheduling more games on artificial turf than the men had. He said there was no sufficient evidence to show that the decision on field services were made for discriminatory reasons. They've literally just pulled everything they can out of their arses to argue for more pay. It's like, oh, we've played more games on AstroTurf. It's like, so bloody what? They're just being greedy, and it's really annoying me. But they are so salty about losing this case, I just love it. I mean, it's stuff that was already in the BBC article, but there's also this tweet added in by Becky Sauerbrunn. If you know this team at all, you know we have a lot of fight left in us. We knew this wasn't going to be easy. Change never is. Again, what do you want? Oh, I want to be paid the same as men. You're being paid more than men. And then, you know, NPC, angry face, everything. They've got no argument. They have no argument at all. And now they're just... Oh, we've got a load of fight left in us. Oh, change is never easy. It's like, what change do you want? You want to be treated as if you should be paid everything in the world. You think you're the dog's bollocks. And quite frankly, nobody watches women's football because the men's is just so much better. And as a nation, it doesn't seem America's that into football anyway. I mean, they're into their own version of American football with the oddly shaped ball. And that's fine, but guess what? The men's football, American football teams, I should say, are still going to be paid more than the women's American football team. Because all the money is there. People want to watch the men play sport, unfortunately for you, not the women. And you can try as you might, but you are never going to change the fact that we want to see the very best people play sport. And unfortunately, because of physical differences, it's always going to be the men. And with that, that's everything I had for you today. So as usual, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.